Are already jammed, so let's start by going to Tacoma, Washington. First-time caller Caylen is with us. Hello, Caylen.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Super.
The reason I called is because my friend River, she told me I should give you guys a call because you've been talking about Sasquatches and Yetis and skunk apes.
We do it all.
Yeah.
Why, have you seen one of these things?
Have I seen them? Back in 1970, I lived with them for about 3 weeks.
What do you mean you lived with them, Caylen?
Well, actually, I was kind of abducted, and, well, it's a long story.
No, tell us the story. If you've been abducted by a Bigfoot, I want to hear about it. What happened to you?
Not a problem. I was, well, do you know, okay, over on, in the Cascades, there's a place called Boulder Cave National Park.
Okay.
Now is a day camp because the people from the National Service don't want to go out and pick up bodies anymore.
Bodies?
Bodies, yeah. Well, mainly it's snake bite.
Ugh. So people died out there, you're saying?
Oh yeah, people have, and so they made it from a recreational area to just a day camp right there by the Little Natchez River. Anyways, when it was a national park back in 1970, I convinced my dad and my stepdad and my mom that I needed to get out of the house because there's too much going on.
At the house, sure.
Yeah.
So you got to get away. You go to the park.
Yeah. So
right.
Anyways, they take me out to the park. That's where I wanted to go.
Are you going to camp out there at that time or what? Okay.
Yeah. And I told them I'm going to stay out here for 3 weeks. I'm going to enjoy the river. I'm going to go see what Boulder Cave looks like, and maybe I'll go up to Devil's Falls. And my stepdad said, well, if you go out towards Devil's Falls, you might want to just be very careful out there because there's a lot of snakes. And I said, okay, fine. I'll hunt the snakes.
And he wasn't kidding.
Dinner.
All right. You were going to eat the snakes?
Oh, yeah. I mean, rattlers.
I've never eaten a snake. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah. What? You think that a snake tastes like chicken?
That's what I hear.
It tastes like fish. That's what a snake tastes like.
Yeah, but it's a mental picture. I can't eat something like that.
Well, that's all right. Well,
do you eat roadkill?
Yeah. Anyway.
You do?
Huh?
Do you eat roadkill?
No, but I do eat rattlers.
Oh, okay. Anyways, let's go back to your great story. So you're camping out there.
Yeah, I was camping out there for at least 3 days, and then I decided I'm going to go up to Boulder Cave because I never saw it. I wondered, I found it, went into that chilly place, and it must have been 30 degrees. I mean, it was cold, and it was about 70 feet long. So I went through the cave, and I was glad to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Then I decided, well, since I'm this far and I've got a pack on, I'm going to go out to Devil's Falls and see what's so great about it, because I'd never been out there before.
So off you went.
Yeah, off I went. Well, about 2 hours into my hike, I finally got out to the falls. But just before I got to the falls, there's this big old log. So I just took off the bark, and there's a bunch of grubs there, so I got a bag full of grubs.
What'd you do with those?
Oh, you eat them.
You eat grubs?
Well, yeah, they're not poison.
They're like little worms, aren't they?
Oh, actually, they're more like little
maggots.
Fat things, yeah, like maggots, but they taste really good.
Oh,
anyway,
you'd be fun for dinner.
Well, I decided I was going to have a very interesting lunch. So after I'd done that, I smelled this horrific smell.
Aha.
And I thought, my God, something's dead. So I looked over into the ravine that goes out into, not Jungle Creek, but the Devil's Creek area. And I didn't see anything. And I thought, okay. So I went over to the other side.
Yeah, and for the sake of time now, let's get the Bigfoot into getting you.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
So I decided, okay, I'm going to go down the falls because it's really beautiful right there if you've never been there. I went down. There's a slippery path that goes down. I mean, if you're not careful, you'll break your head. Well, when I finally got to the base of the falls, I set up my camp, and then I went to the waterfall because I was all dirty, and I was washing up, and then I saw this dark thing coming over me. I looked up. I thought it was a bear. I quite quaintly fainted.
You fainted? You're in the water and you faint.
I fainted.
You could have drowned.
I could have, but I didn't.
Because?
Because something took me, and I had no idea. I was unconscious. And the next thing I knew was that I was waking up in darkness, and the darkness was a cave.
You were in a cave with a family of Bigfoot.
No, actually it was just one at the time. It was a male, and...
Was he, hovering over you?
No, actually, he was sitting across from me.
Was he watching you?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, at first I thought the devil had arrived.
Were you clothed, or did you take your clothes off when you went in the
No, I was
river?
Clothed. I just thought the devil was after me because all I saw was these glowing red eyes.
All right, so you wake up, Caylen, you're in a cave, and there's a Bigfoot. About how big is this thing?
I had no idea at the time because it was pitch black.
Okay.
And I just heard this voice in my head.
What do they sound like?
The voice itself was very pleasing. It was very clear. And it just said, don't be afraid. You're okay. Don't be afraid. We're not going to eat you. And I said, that's fine. Ooh. And he said, well, some of us call it seal cocks and others call it Sasquatches.
So they were
my God.
They were communicating with you via telepathy?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay.
They are telepathic. As a matter of fact, most reason why most people can't, these so-called Sasquatch hunters don't have any joy in actually, spotting Sasquatches, especially at night, is because these people, and I call Sasquatches people because that's what they are. They're long-range telepaths. They know you're coming miles before you get there.
Okay, so there was one.
Anyway, there was one, and he just told me not to be afraid, and he says, are you hungry? And I said, well, yeah. And he said, okay. And so he took my hand, and he brought me out to the mouth of the cave. And and I couldn't believe it, he was about 10 feet tall. And he called himself Bahak. And I said, okay. And he says, your name's Kay, right? And I said, yeah. And he says, oh, good. I think we've been expecting you. And it's like, oh, good. Really? So anyways, 4 other Sasquatches emerged from the brushy area.
All the same size? Any little baby Sasquatches?
There was one, except it was about 4 feet tall, and it was only 2 summers old.
And so how long did you stay with them, Kay?
I stayed with them for about 3 weeks.
On your own, or did they
No,
keep you?
they let me come and go as I wanted.
So you wanted to stay there for 3 weeks?
Oh gosh, yes. I finally realized what an opportunity to find out about a different species.
Sure. All right. When you left, why did you leave? Just because you figured it's time to go?
No. What happened was that for the 3 weeks, I was taught how to fish with my hands, how to heal, how to
This is incredible.
communicate with them telepathically, because I'd never done that before, but they showed me how to do it.
All right, I only have a few more minutes left, so I want to get to the bottom of this. But why did you end up leaving?
I left because I needed to.
Okay, so you leave. Did you ever?
And I told them, I said, look, I love you all, and I really want to stay with you, but I have to go. I have a family I have to go to.
All right, did you ever come back and see them again?
Oh, yeah. I see them once a year for about a week.
So hold on. You're saying You're saying to me right now that you go back anytime you want at will, and you know where they are, and you go see them.
Oh gosh, yes. And
would you ever bring a group of people with you?
Not if not if they've got cameras, and not if they've got guns. No way.
Well, not the guns. I agree with you on the guns, but what's wrong with the cameras?
They're afraid that you'll steal their souls. You know, they're sort of African that way.
Well, you're not going to steal a soul with a camera.
Well, they think so. And that's kind of interesting.
So here's my question. Were they born on this planet, or were they brought here?
They were brought here. Actually, they weren't even brought here. Their ship crash landed about 90,000 years ago, and there were 700 Sasquatches on board who had been who were on their way to a prison planet. See, their planet, their home planet, is called Inuva.
And where is that in the galaxy?
It's in the Aries star system.
Okay. And they were like prisoners?
They were prisoners. Yeah.
So you're lucky.
Like the Botany Bay.
Well, you're lucky you stumbled into a group of nice ones then.
Well, actually, they told me all about themselves and their relatives, and why they split up and went to the four corners of the earth.
Have you brought anybody with you, even if they go without a camera? Would you do that?
That's a nifty thing. First, I'd have to contact them and ask for.
Well, you do me a favor. You ask them and get back to us.
Sure.
I would probably go without a camera and definitely without a gun.
Well, that would be a very safe thing.
You've got to guarantee that I'm going to be able to come back, though.
Well, I'm not going to let them kill you.
Would they?
No.
All right, good. You do that. You ask them. You get back to us, George at coasttocoastam.com. At worst, I'll send Tommy.